So welcome to CxXchange Success Hour, how to build powerful no-code AI agents with Kate Reed of MAKR and co-hosted by Jan Young of CxXchange, Step Up Exchange, and Jan Young CX. Okay, let's dig in. Kate, let's go ahead and before you have the slides up, let's go back and just remove the slides for a second so everyone can see you. Say hello and introduce yourself.
Awesome. Hello, everyone. I'm Kate Reed. I'm excited to be here again. A quick background on me. I'm a customer success professional. I've worked in agency. I was a CSM at HubSpot, and then I led customer success for a Series B startup. And in the past couple months, I discovered AI agents. And I don't code. I don't know anything about coding, but I just started building and kind of got bit by the bug. Since then, I've been really passionate about sharing this with others, especially in the CS industry, because it's so early in the industry of AI agents. They're so new, as we'll see today, that I think it's a really, really important topic and something that I want to share with everyone here. Most recently, I founded MAKR Ventures. That is basically just me, where I can build custom agents, I can collaborate with teams, I can do education on how people can use AI agents to better serve their business, themselves, and their customers. So that's me.
All right, then let's dig in.
Awesome. Okay, let me go back and get the slides. Hold on, everyone, for a second while I tee this up. Cool. All right. All right, can everyone now see the title slide? Give me a thumbs up. Okay. Oh, I got clapping. Amazing. Good start. All right, and so what we're focusing on for this workshop, last workshop, as Jan discussed, we went full discussion mode and building live. What we're going to do in this one is build a little bit of a foundation first, so that way people feel very comfortable with what is AI, what's an LLM, what's a prompt, and then we're going to look at an agent that I've already built, or we're going to be building it together, but I've built it before, and then we're going to open it up for questions. So if you have questions while I'm going through these slides, feel free to drop it in the chat or save it for the Q&A at the end. A lot of the questions I might end up answering the next slide. So just keep an eye out, drop them there. My hope for this session is after watching this, you'll feel much more comfortable going into wherever you want to build an agent, whether that's Agent.ai or a different place. We're also including a slide on different places where you can build agents right now. So let's dive in. What is an AI agent? So if you guys could drop the answer in the chat, that would be super helpful. Is it a secret undercover virus on your computer? Is it a robot intern that never takes a break? Or is it the reason that all of your colleagues think you're a genius? All right, we're getting a lot of B and C. Okay. Okay, I'm feeling, oh, a D. Okay, we've got a new, okay, this is great. Excellent. Okay, I'm glad to see we don't have any A's, but if we did, that would be okay too. So yes, essentially, this is something that's helpful to you, and it's something that can be helpful to your business. Therefore, your colleagues will think you're a genius. So by the time we're done, you're going to know what it is and how to build one. So today's purpose is going to be focused on learning. I don't want anyone to come to here and think I am going to know how to build an absolute perfect AI agent after this session. AI agents can take some iteration and some tweaking to get it exactly the way you want. It's a new area. It's a new thing for you. It's a new kind of software. And I wouldn't be hard on yourself if the first output isn't exactly what you want. It's actually kind of a creative process. There's a dialogue back there. So related to that, today is about learning. It's not about results. We're looking to understand AI basics, learning the how to build, and then getting ideas for things that you may want to build yourself. All right, so let's move into exactly what AI is. And actually, I'd like people, if you have a definition, no cheating, no ChatGPT, no AI for this question of what is AI. But if you can drop what you think AI is into the chat, I would love to see some genuine and sincere answers. Oh, Shuby, coming in hot. Lifesaver. Everyone's intelligence in one brain. I kind of like that. Magic. Okay, magic is what I want it to be whenever I open it. Glad that was said. As someone who has personally churned off of many AI pieces of software already, because I was hoping they were magic, and then when I started use them, I found out they are just software.
Yep.
So here's the slide. AI is software. It just happens to be software that learns, and it learns from examples to perform tasks. I like to use examples that involve cats. I find them memorable. I apologize if you don't like cats, but we're going to have some examples with cats here just so it sticks in people's minds. So just like humans learn from experience, AI also learns from experience. So for instance, as you can see on the right-hand side, AI can see many cats and learn what a cat looks like. Can hear many stories about cats. And then it might learn how to write a similar story about cats. Oh, we like cats? Okay, good.
Mhm.
It can read many cat medical journals, and it can learn veterinary science. Right? So none of it makes it magic, none of it makes it human. It just kind of has that learning component, just like we're doing today, where if it sees examples of things, it can learn from it and start doing some of that for us. All right, so moving on. We're going to now talk about LLMs, which is something I think everyone here probably already has a little bit of familiarity with, if not a lot. But I think it's really important. I'm actually going to go back here so people don't start reading. I think it's really important that we talk about this because there can be a lot of confusion between when do I use my LLM versus an AI agent. And so we're going to talk about that so that way you know when to use what. So what is an LLM? It's a large language model. It's AI trained on all the data on the internet, or at least all the data that its trainers are giving it. It's a lot of data. It is so much. It is more than any intern could ever have, as someone was saying. It sees tons and tons of examples and is then able to learn from them and give you better outputs. When you're talking to it, when you're in conversation with it, it feels like an assistant, right? It can feel like a human assistant that you ask it questions. You can have your own kind of language together sometimes, your own shorthand with it. It feels very conversational, right? Hence language. What they're good at, things like drafting emails for you, generating ideas. I love to use mine for brainstorming what kind of agent I'm going to build and how I'm going to build it before I even start building. So you could say something like, give me ideas for X. They answer questions. How many of you, show of hands, have started asking questions to ChatGPT or Claude or Gemini before you Google it? Yeah, me too. Googling has started to even feel a little outdated now. So again, good at answering questions. It's also good at analyzing documents. On the right-hand side here, we have a couple of LLMs that you might be using right now as your assistant. Who uses ChatGPT? All right, who uses Claude? A lot of people on Gemini? All right, and I didn't put it in here, but I'll do this as a, who's using Perplexity? Oh, someone put them in order? That is awesome. All right, cool. So yeah, so these are different assistants. And just like you might work with different colleagues for different things, you might work with different LLMs, different, I'm just gonna say assistants, for different things. So OpenAI, ChatGPT, really good on content and logic. I use ChatGPT every single day. It's probably my main assistant at this point. It's the one I typically ask questions the most. Anthropic has Claude. Even if you're not using it, you've probably heard of it. Really good at long form coding. Then there's Google Gemini, large inputs, Google. And there's way more than this. And we're going to actually see some of them in an example later when we're building our agent. And the thing is that all of these LLMs are changing really rapidly. And so this slide could be outdated for what they're good for within weeks, to be quite honest, because things change. But generally, these are kind of the three big ones. And feel free to drop in what you use and why it's your favorite in the chat. So we're going to go into prompting and what makes a good prompt. So we know large language model learns from experience. Prompt is kind of how we talk to the LLM. It's how we give instructions. In this example, again, cats. For the prompt, it might be something like, tell me a bedtime story about a brave cat. And typically, when you're using your LLM, a lot of times it's very tempting to not give a lot of specificity. You just throw something in there and see what comes back. And so again, prompting is just the instructions that you give. And you can see in the example, please do not feel like you need to read this. This is just to show you what an output might look like if you give it a very kind of vague prompt like that. It'll give you just what it thinks based on its experience and training is going to be the best story about a brave cat. But then how do you get a better prompt? And I like that someone mentioned about thinking critically, because when you're prompting, you need to be thinking critically about what kind of output you want. You don't just want to have it give you whatever. You should be thinking about, what do I actually want from my LLM? And that comes into better prompting. So this is actually a good prompt because it tells the agent what you want it to do. It tells what to avoid. I always love to put a caveat. Whenever I prompt, I always say, do not do this, very explicitly. So you say what you want it to do, what to avoid or not do. So for instance, here it says, be careful to ensure the story is soothing and has lighthearted themes. You can also say the format you want the response so that it looks the way you want it to look, why you want what you want. The context is important. So that way it'll kind of choose the strategy that it uses to provide your response. So we can see how this very specific prompt that gives context into this person needs it for a bedtime story for a 2-year-old, she wants rhyming, the length they want, is a much different output. It's something that rhymes. Again, you do not have to read this, but this is, iambic pentameter bedtime story style. So again, prompting, you want to be specific, tell what you want it to do, what not to do, format, and why you want it. All right, now we're going to move to agents and kind of bring all of that together about where you use what. So LLMs, think of it as your AI assistant. Agent, that's your AI program. And the main difference there, an assistant is, think of it very broad, very flexible. An agent has a very specific goal and a very specific output. It has rules that it's following when it's running for you. It also does work on your behalf. And let's take a look at kind of what I mean by that. Okay, so here's an example. On the left for an LLM, let's say I want to get the state of the industry for Delta Airlines. I want to know how they're doing. Yeah, I'm going to get to custom GPTs in a couple of slides too. We're going to be mentioning those, and we're also going to have a slide devoted to the difference. So good question, Trevor. We're going to break it down for you.
You've got that covered.
For this one, just for the LLM and the agent piece. On the left-hand side, what we can see, and again, the question is, what's the state of the industry for Delta Airlines? You might be asking this because they're your customer and you have a call coming up with them and you want to make sure that you have your finger on the pulse of what is going on in the airline industry, just for example. On the left, you can see if you just throw that in to, in this case, Claude, it gives you very general knowledge and phrases like, based on my knowledge, I need to search, things like that. If you put it into an agent that is specifically designed to do this kind of research and has a program behind it that has rules and recommendations and insight, you're going to get a much better output that is very specific for the goal that you want. As you can see here, it has an executive summary, industry health analysis, future outlook. It's comprehensive analysis tied to a goal in this case. And we're going to go break that down even further here, and feel free to screenshot these as well, just to, again, this is all new technology.
You don't need to screenshot. If you look at the link to the slides, you can download the slides or copy the slides. They're going to be in view only, but you have these slides for your use.
Perfect. There's also a loom at the end of it. There's a lot in these slides, but
Yeah.
here I think basically.
And if you, for some reason, don't catch it, we'll also put it in our Slack community, and it'll also be on our website as a resource.
Yeah.
So you'll see it in many places. Anyway, keep going.
No worries. But just to harp on this, this is a very critical difference between when you want to use an assistant and your LLM and an agent, a specific program. And as you can see from the left-hand side, the use case for LLMs, super flexible. Whatever I want, whenever I want, very, very flexible in there, whatever you need. I kind of think of it as my intern that really actually has the entire internet at her disposal. Agents, very specific. There's a specific purpose I have. It's very prescriptive in the inputs I need. For instance, they have like form fields, prompts are built in, very specific goals. And then Trevor, here you are. We've got the difference between an agent and a custom GPT, because this came up a lot. I think especially given in customer success and support, custom GPTs are really popular right now. And they can do a lot of things more than just this slide, but I just wanted to kind of give you the broad strokes here. Custom GPT still kind of falls into that AI assistant category, but it can do chat responses. It has some limited tools. It has some manual prompting available. Agent, again, does work on your behalf. It can have real-time data. It can take action and give you a very, very structured output. So custom GPT might be great to talk to customers with, whereas an agent might be great to do something like, let's do a deep dive on those customers or take action in my CRM on that, et cetera. Jan, I think you want to add something.
Yeah, so what I was going to say is, so like one example with the custom GPT is that I use it to create my voice, right? So that if I want to like do a LinkedIn post or work on my newsletter, it already knows things about what I'm doing and who I'm speaking to and all of those things. And it can incorporate all those ideas because in the custom GPT, I've already added in past things that I've written and lots of information that it's referencing, right? Now, even if I had a task, what I might do is it's still going to be a little more on the fly. It's when I'm interacting with it. I can schedule some tasks and things like that. So it might feel like it's an agent, but it's a little bit different. What I'm building for an agent is because I'm not particularly organized all the time and I speak a lot on all different kinds of podcasts and things, and I post about it on LinkedIn, but I don't have a list. So now I'm building an agent that will go through and look at my past 100 LinkedIn posts to see when I've posted about when I'm on a podcast, things like that, so I can have that list, right? That is something that an agent can go and look at all of my past LinkedIn posts. That's not something a custom GPT can go do. You know, a custom GPT might look at websites and then I might on the fly ask some things about it, or it might be a custom GPT that's based upon my past writings that I've uploaded to it. But it's different than if you're going to make an agent that is going to analyze the last 100 posts of Christine Kukic to see what she's writing about, right? Like there's a difference between when you are creating an agent and when you're doing a custom GPT. Is that helpful? So GPTs, right, building on a conversation about a topic or a customer. Yeah, it's more like when you have a conversation with a GPT, right? And you're asking more questions of it, whereas an agent is going to do something that's repeating, right? You're going to repeat those steps, and it's always those steps. It's more structured.
It's very structured. So custom GPT, almost think smart chatbot agent. it can do tasks on your behalf. Like Jan was saying, it can do work on your behalf. It is pretty very structured. And we're going to look into exactly how, like what an agent looks like and what the program does in there for the agent piece, and really deep dive into that. So you'll see what the capabilities of an agent can be, it's specifically in Agent.ai. We're also supplying other places where you can build agents as well. I will be honest, I have not tried very many of the other ones, but those are places where you can play around and check it out, which is, again, today we're here for learning, we're here for fun. So feel free to play around those other places. Anyways, exciting stuff here. I'm gonna move forward on that piece.
Yep.
So we can actually start building. Are you guys ready to build?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, great. I'm gonna stop sharing my screen so I share the right thing with you, which is important in a webinar. All right, let's go ahead. And where I'm jumping to when I share my screen again is going to be inside Agent.ai. We have directions on how to sign up. We have some credits for people as well in the deck. Jan, do you want me just to drop the link in case people want to sign up now, or just kind of refer it? Keep going? Okay, let's do it.
Yeah, I've been dropping all of that information, so we're good.
Oh, so good. This is why I come to CxXchange, guys.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to share my screen. I'm going to explain where I am and how I got there, and then we're going to build an agent together in real time. It is not pre-built. All right, can everyone see my screen? We're off to a good start. All right, so what we're doing, I saw a note about the pricing. We actually have a slide on it as well in the resources, but we can answer in the Q&A. All right, so let's start building. So where I went is just in Agent.ai. You can sign up with Google if you would like, which is very, very easy to sign into. And once you sign in, you have a number of credits. Where we're looking right now is, if I go to Agent.ai, so right there, and then I go to the top right hand next to the profile, and I click Agent Builder. It's going very slow. There we go, because I'm sharing my screen. So this is all of the agents I have built. Feel free to laugh at the will this customer be an effing nightmare agent. I will be posting that one soon. We're not building that one today, though. We're going to build one that we've already discussed, which is the state of the industry agent. And I'm going to talk a little bit about that. And basically what this agent is going to look like. Hold on one second. I'm just pulling up what the ad. I think I'm going to run a similar agent to it, and then we're going to build it together there. So let me click on the run. Hold on one second.
And I just wanted to highlight that there was a great description of the difference between custom GPT and agent. Custom GPT only works if you're interacting with it. An agent, you start to run it and you walk away and it's going to keep doing its thing. So
right.
thanks, Ash. That's a great description.
I'm actually going to share a couple slides just to show what we're going to be building, because I saw we had some questions on that and want to make sure I set that up for everyone. So we're going to be building a state of the industry agent. What this agent is going to do is research and analyze the state of the industry of any company. What is nice about this, we're doing a very broad agent today. What I want you to think about once we start getting into the prompting and that is, how could I use this for myself? Again, we're in that learning thing. What's some stuff that we could do to play around with it and make it work for you? And this is not proprietary. You can literally go into your own Agent.ai portal after this and build the same thing with some tweaking if you would like. So that's what we're going to be building. Our goal is going to be an enterprise-grade business intelligence report that's going to be produced in under 60 seconds. There's an example here on the left. If I click this link, you can see what the output is going to look like as well. Oh, I deleted it. Anyway, you'll see in a second. And again, by the end, this is going to have this very this very professional, very well-researched output. The AI agent is going to take a company domain as the input. It's going to enrich the company data using Breeze Intelligence, which is looking at over 200 million different sources of verified information to really give you an accurate company picture. It's going to identify the company industry for us using AI. It's also going to gather current market news and disruption signals from Google News, and then it's going to generate a very professional-looking HTML industry report. I'm aiming for a 30-second runtime. We'll see if we get there. This very professional-looking output. Real-time market analysis, which is where like the real meat and potatoes of this agent is, I think. And as anyone who's experienced working with like, basically it's McKinsey in like 30 seconds is ideally what you're having here. You're looking for really, really deep insights there. That's a great question from Ashrutha. I definitely want to mark that for the Q&A.
Yeah.
That's a really good one. All right, so now we're going to get out of here and we're going to start building. All right, I have to go to a different window. Hold please. Alrighty. Cool. All right, can everyone share my screen or see my screen? Perfect. All right, so I signed into Agent.ai and I'm in the agent builder. What you're gonna wanna do is to get started with your agent, once you know what you wanna build and start
Can
playing.
you just scroll up just 1 second? So you see the next to the blue K, K with the blue circle, Agent Builder. So she clicked on Agent Builder. This screen comes up. She has a bunch of agents that she's built. You're not going to see much of anything there. So don't think that that's kind of crazy. And then, but what you want to do is that upper right orange corner, orange square. I'm so excited that their colors are blue and orange. Can't you tell? But anyway, then you click on the create agent and that's what she's doing. Okay.
All right, so we're gonna create an agent and I already have in mind what I wanna create. So we're just gonna go start from scratch. So I clicked start from scratch. There were other templates available, but for today, we're just going to build an agent from scratch. When I click that, it takes me directly to the settings portion of your new agent. In settings is where you can name, describe your agent, as well as create an agent username, which is going to be the agent URL. So right here, we're just gonna do state of the industry. For the agent description, you want to put something that's, if it's an agent that's just for you, something that you'll remember if you're going to be publishing and sharing, which we'll get to in a second, something that's descriptive and helpful. So for us, we're going to do wondering what the state of the company's industry is at. This agent uses company data, industry news, market analysis to provide an accurate assessment. And if you ever are stuck on anything, you can always go over to your LLM, take a screenshot of what you're doing and say, hey, can you help me make an agent description for this as a prompt or something like that, which I do pretty frequently. We're going to skip video demo and then we're going to name our agent. We're going to do something like state of industry, which is good news, it's available. Then we pick an icon. I'm just going to put AI because we're using AI. For sharing and visibility, here underneath icon URL, we're going to click here and we can see that it's private, anyone with the link. Now for this agent, I'm building it just so that I and my team can enjoy it. So I'm just going to keep it to private, anyone with the link. If you didn't want anyone else to see it, keep it as private. Specific HubSpot portals, we'll shelve that for now, but basically for later when more HubSpot stuff is available, this could only look at specific HubSpot portals. Again, there's going to be more information about that coming out inbound. The one I really want to call out is public. If you select public, it's going to submit your agent for review and then publish it to the agent marketplace if you select that. We're not going to select that right now. We're going to keep it private But later, if you really like your agent, you can always go back to settings and make it public so that way other people can use it and benefit from it. And again, private, anyone with the link allows your whole team to use it. You just have to share the link. All right, expected runtime. We're aiming for 30 seconds, but I like to underpromise and overdeliver, so we're going to select 1 minute under the expected runtime. What expected runtime means is how long will people have to wait for this agent before it puts the output? How long does this agent do? Again, agents do work for you. How long will it take this agent to do that work? So we're going to go to 1 minute. Then you can use some tags. Tags are required if you want to publish your agent later. I'm just going to do customer service for right now. It could honestly, this is such a broad agent, it could go almost anywhere, but I just want to kind of show you what tags are. Again, I just picked it from the dropdown. There's a bunch of ones you can select. You can also select other. Oh, and I do want to mention, we also have all of this step-by-step in the deck as well. I'm just not sharing that portion with you right now. So you will have that in case you're worrying about taking notes right now or anything like that. This is all recorded and the steps will be shared. All right, how do we think our settings look, guys? Good? Filled out? Want to actually build? Me too. All right, so we're going to trigger. For the trigger, oh, and I see a question about letting it run longer that I'm actually going to answer right now since we're on here. The expected runtime won't limit how long it runs. What this is generally doing is messaging to people how long they can expect it to run. For instance, if you have an agent that takes 1 minute and you tell them that it'll only take 5 seconds, they're probably going to leave after 30 seconds. So it's just messaging to people what they can expect. It won't limit anything for your agent. For the trigger, we're going to keep it on manual only. Basically, to use the agent, people need to go to the agent and manually run it. There are some other ones here that I do want to highlight, such as a user configured schedule or being able to email the agent so it can run for you. There's also things that are a bit more advanced, like webhooks. So for us, right now, we're going to keep it manual only, but I did really want to highlight that configured schedule or enabling it via email, since that is kind of a differentiator for agents and something that's pretty helpful. For instance, Jan was talking about her LinkedIn agent. That would probably be a good one for a configured schedule, so that way it goes in periodically and looks. All right, now we're going to start building. So this is where you put your workflow actions. For the first action, you can see here this white button that says Add Action above the SmartFlow Actions area here. This is where you add actions. So what we want to do for our first action, it's almost always going to be user input. In fact, I can't think of an example where it wouldn't be adding a user input. So let's look at what that looks like. I'm going to click Add Action, and then you'll see all of the actions available. So again, we were talking about the difference between an LLM and an agent. There's a lot of actions available in here. These ones are specific to Agent.ai. Other ones may also have similar actions and stuff available. I mostly build on Agent.ai, so I'm best to speak to that piece of it. I just want to show you kind of the scope of what agents can do. So for this one, we need to get some information from the users. So what we're going to do first is go to this section called User Input. You can see the names of the different actions up here, kind of the different sections. It's user input, get data, access HubSpot, use AI, run process, create output, advanced. Everyone see that blue bar up there? All right, so we're going to make sure we're in the user input section of the blue bar. We're going to go get user input. I'm going to select this first option here. For this input type, in the dropdown, you can select what input type you want. We're going to select website domain. And we're just going to put in what is the website domain of the company. The user prompt is simply what's going to show in the form, like in the field for them. We don't need to put a default value. We're going to keep it required. It's the only input. And then we're going to name our variable. And for this variable, we're going to name it company domain. All right, so before I go down to the next step, I just want to show you, as soon as I put that in, you can see the step, you can see the action, and it also has the text of the question, and it has what is called the output variable. I'm going to open this up again so I can emphasize this piece. The output variable name is very critical to make sure that you put in correctly. You can name it whatever you want to name it, but essentially you're going to name a piece of information that's going to be passed through the agent steps. So you want to make sure you know what you named it. If you forget, you can always refer back to this step though. It's not the end of the world. All right, so we're going to add another action. Again, white button up here, add action. And for this one, what we're going to do is we want to enrich the company data. We want to make this really smart. Again, way more than we would just get in our LLM. We want to actually take advantage of what's available here. So I'm going to go to the section called Get Data up here on the blue bar. And I have a lot of options now. There's some things in here from social. There's some things where I can be looking at web page content. There's YouTube transcripts. There's domain info. There's all kinds of things. For this particular agent, I am just going to choose to enrich it with Breeze Intelligence. If you hover over any of these, it tells you what it does. This one gathers enriched company data using Breeze Intelligence. Sounds good to me. Let's do this. And so you'll see that for this action, you need to give it the domain name and the output variable name. So I'm going to click here, or actually you can click over here for the insert variable. And this will have, remember we just talked about output variables in the last step. This kind of collects all the variables you've made, so that way you can select from them and do things with them. So we're going to select company domain. And now we got to name this one. All right, so for this one, we're going to just name it Breeze Intelligence. We're going to keep it easy, keep it simple, so we don't forget what it's called. You can see this has happened to me before. All right, so we're going to save that. Then for our next step, I wanted to identify the industry for us. So I'm going to go to Add Action. And for this one, I'm actually going to go over to use an LLM. So in the blue bar, you want to go to Use AI. Then you'll select Use Gen AI. There are more, just like with the Get Data options, there are more options here, such as generating image, audio output. I honestly haven't used these too much in Agent.ai yet. But there are community documentation, stuff like that on it. Generally, I'm using an LLM. Here's one thing I love about this step. I am able to choose what LLM I want to use. Different LLMs have different strengths and weaknesses, like we discussed before. For this one, I'm going to keep it very easy and very simple. OpenAI O3 Mini. It's a very lightweight LLM. It has connection to the live internet. It is fast. I want this agent to be fast. Again, we want it under 30 seconds. So I'm going to pick O3 Mini. We could honestly spend an entire webinar talking about the difference between these LLMs. So I'm not going to go too much further into it, but I would love to geek out with any of you about it. And so for this prompt, I'm just going to keep it simple. I'm going to ask it to identify what industry this company has. And then notice how I put the variable in here. If I didn't have that there, again, I could just click Insert Variable. I'm very specific with it. Return just the industry name. Don't do anything fancy. This is what the industry name looks like. You got to be pretty prescriptive here. I need to move your faces. Hold on. Hold on one second. There we go.
But our smiling faces, you want
I know, I'm so sorry. I gotta put your mask on this side. I got it built. We're gonna name this variable. This one's gonna be easy. Let's just keep it industry. Industry. Cool. And select attachments is just if you want it to reference attachments. I would not use it yet in your agents until you feel comfortable building agents. It is helpful eventually. All right, so this is gonna be a 7-step agent. We're almost halfway through. We're gonna add another action. This one I love. Someone asked about the current information. It is incredibly current because we selected O3 Mini, and that one has live internet browsing. Some other ones don't. O3 Mini and Perplexity both do. I prefer O3 Mini over Perplexity personally. It is less creative, and I can more consistently guess what it's going to do. But it is shallower. Perplexity tends to give you a deeper look, but it is very creative, and I find myself spending a lot of time refining the output. All right, so we're going to go to Get Data on the blue bar, and now we're going to look for industry news. Remember, we're building a state of the industry agent, so we need to know what's going on in the industry news. So again, we went to Google News Data. we're going to put in a query here. So we're going to insert the variable we just created with industry. We're going to put in quotes because, again, this is a search query. We want it to be specific. We'll do trends, market outlook 2025. We're going to put it to look in the last 30 days in this dropdown. And we're going to name it. We're going to name it industry news. Again, you always want to name that variable. Location, you can leave blank. I've never used it. Cool. So that's our first Google News step. And I know I went through that one a little fast because we're about to do another one. So I went to get action, get data, and Google News data. We're going to do that again. We're going to do another query. This one is going to be industry disruption, AI automation decline. Because probably being impacted by AI right now, we want to see what it's doing. We're going to do last 30 days again. We're going to name it again. I'm just going to keep it as news data. Perfect. All right. We're into the last 2 steps of our agent. We're going to be able to run it soon, which is exciting. All right. So now we're going to add an action. And for this action, we're actually going to be generating the report here. So remember, our goal is to generate a state of the industry report. So for that, we're going to go in the blue bar to use AI. And again, we've done this before. We're going to use LLM. And we're going to do a prompt. Now, what I prompt, before I put anything in here, I usually ideate with my LLM. I say what I'm building an agent for. I say where I'm building the agent. In my case, Agent.ai. You can put it for wherever you're building. And I have it help me come up with a prompt. So I don't usually just come up with the perfect prompt on the first try. I usually ideate with my LLM a little bit and then come up with it. We're going to keep this really simple. Analyze this customers, that's companies, industry health, and future outlook based on comprehensive research. And then we have every single variable. So these are the same as these variables I've already put in here. You just would want to select Breeze Intelligence, select industry news, select news data, and make sure that's all in there. Format, again, we're going to say the format. And again, it says instructions, but this is essentially a prompt to an LLM. I'm also going to add...
And so Breeze Intelligence then was the output of all the other information that led up to it, right? So that's why all she has to put in is Breeze Intelligence.
So for Breeze Intelligence, that one, yeah, is the output of all the work that it did in that step. So I'm saying, put all the work that you did in that step right here. Put all the work that you did in this other step right here under industry news. That's going to take all that stuff from that first Google News step about the industry. For the second one, I'm saying, take everything you did in that second Google News step about disruption in this industry and put it in here. So now I know when this goes to, I'm going to put O3 mini for here. I would recommend doing something like 4.1 for this. Typically, I'm just doing O3 mini right now, so it moves fast for us. The reason I would do 4.1 or something else is because I don't need live internet connection, and I do want it to think deeply about this. But again, so it moves fast because we want that 30 seconds. I'm putting O3 mini. One thing I am going to add is ask it to make it look nice. Let's say a McKinsey grade PPT.
Report, yeah.
McKinsey grade PPT. And you can put, hey, I want this to look like this for branding or something. I don't personally know HTML, so often I'll make these references. And now we want to put our output variable, and we're going to name it industry report, because that's what it's doing here. Okay, and then final step here, very important, very easy to forget. You're going to want to go to create output on the blue bar. You're going to want to go to show user output. It's the first one under the blue bar. And now you can put the heading. This is the first thing people will see. So state of the industry report. And you could put a variable in here. And then for the output formatted, all you have to do in this step is put the output variable of the last step. Nothing fancy, do not add anything else, just that output variable, that's it. And we did ask it in the last step to be formatted in HTML, so we want to make sure this format at the bottom matches that. If you forget and leave it on auto, it'll probably figure it out though. All right, so now we're gonna run it. So now we're moving away from the smart flow actions. On the right-hand side, we're gonna put in, this is called the preview, and this is where you can test your agent. We're gonna do delta. Just let go. And while it's running, if I want to follow along and see what it's doing on this, again, preview pane, I can click the debugger and watch it complete the steps if I want to be a stalker with my agent. But more seriously, this is where you can see if something went wrong and where you can dial in more if things are getting tweaky. And again, like I started this webinar saying, this is a learning process. I have not had a single agent run perfectly my first run. It's kind of a creative process. Have fun with it. It's meant to be kind of a conversation between you and the agent. So there are probably always going to be something that you would tweak for it to look better. And now I do have a link to an output I ran before that I'm going to share in another tab. If you guys give me a second. Oh,
There we go. Pretty quick.
here we are. I think we made the 30-second mark.
Yeah, I think we did.
And so you can see here that it has an executive summary. Industry health, it's looking at key trends for us. It's referencing different things. Digital financial strength, future outlook, looks pretty good. We're not going to go deeply through here. What we are going to do is we like this, we're going to click publish changes because that is how you get the final version. And then if you want to see it in a bigger window, you can always do run.
And how many credits did this use then?
You know, that person asked, I do not know if it used any, frankly, because I thought most of the credits are to run rather than to build, but I would like to verify that before I make any promises.
Okay.
For folks on it. I do have the pricing of what it is in here, but typically, like for instance, if I go over here, no, this is one I made. Basically, typically on agents, like if you look at the profile, it'll tell you 1 credit per execution or something. It'll tell you the amount on the agent profile in there. But you do get some credits when you sign up, and then you can get more if you sign up through a link, or if you post about an agent that you build and let me know about it, I can get you 500 credits. So there are ways to get more credits. They want you to use and build and have fun with it.
Right. They're kind of setting you up to use it and build it, and there's lots of ways to get credits. So we'll be sure to share more over in our Slack channel, the AI and CS channel. So if you go to if you're in Slack, it's XChange. I already put the information here. It's in the chat. It's XChange-AI-and-CS over in our Slack channel. So
I also did want to mention on that previous slide, I do want some time for Q&A, so I'll move quickly through this. But for this has some of the pricing in it on there in the different places that you can build agents. Again, I've done Zapier and Agent.ai. I've heard good things about Lovable, good things about Relay. So this is for if you want to experiment as well, and has some information about the pricing. And the only way to get good at building agents or really actually understand them, in my opinion, is to start building them. That's what I was told when I started, and just getting in there and playing around and not worrying about the results, just learning about the process.
okay, so Pritesh had a question in the chat. Can you use the final output of an agent as input or an intermediate step in a new agent you want to build?
Pritesh, I think you might, I think you should probably start building if you're asking questions like this. This is a great question. And yes, those agent-to-agent workflows, I think they're in beta. I think I know some people that are starting to use them. I don't know if they're widely available yet, but I'm going to drop some documentation in here for you in case I can find it. But yes, that is going to be what is incredibly, incredibly powerful once you can get agents using other agents.
And just so you know, like if you're building on any other platform, they're definitely set up that way. And that's how you set up, that's where you want to start to map out how the agents work with each other. Because oftentimes what you do is you build very simple agents that then there's another agent coordinating all of your simple steps. The only thing I would say in terms of how you need to think like a coder is you need to think about breaking down the problems into simple steps. So a lot of times we're just going a mile a minute and we're like, well, I just wanted to tell me this. And it's the same sort of thing when you're putting a prompt in ChatGPT. You know, if you just say, tell me a bedtime story, you're going to get something that's very broad, general, vague. But if you say, tell me the following type of story for a 2-year-old to go to sleep, blah, 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 all of those kinds of details, then you're going to get a closer output. It's similar when you're working with agents, right? And you can go back and forth and like what Kate has done, even she doesn't know HTML at all, but she actually has some examples where she has it, ChatGPT give her what the HTML would look like, and then she'll copy and paste it over into the prompt and then see if it looks like what she wants it to look like when because she's doing things a lot for clients and that sort of thing, and she wants it to look really pretty. You know, for me, I don't need it to look that pretty. I just need to be able to read it, right?
Yeah,
So, you know, you can go to town or you can, you know, go to the city, I guess you could say, you know, and how fancy you want to get. What other thoughts or questions do we have here? So the Agent AI is just a free model. And so you get like and we'll explain over in Slack, you know how you go and get an affiliate link and you can share it with others and you get 50 credits when you do that, things like that. You know, there's lots of ways to get more credits. They want you to use it because this is their playground too. But the other ones are definitely going to have sort of a freemium place to get started, but they are charging because it is expensive to use, you know, AI and run it. So they will charge.
I would know Agent.ai is unique in that it's
Yeah.
co-founded by Dharmesh Shah, who's one of the founders of HubSpot. And so it's a project he is very passionate about. And so their business model is, I would say, unusual. But they will be making money off of it at some point, I am sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, what other questions do we have here? Anything
Oh,
else?
CRM. Great question on the CRM. Again, Agent.ai has a relationship with HubSpot. They should have that CRM stuff. They're going to be definitely enhancing the HubSpot connection first. Then I would expect other abilities there with webhooks to other CRMs, perhaps other big CRMs in the future as they develop those partnerships.
Yeah, Trevor, we don't really know if they're gonna wrap it into HubSpot or keep it separate. I don't know if they know, right? They may not know yet.
Yeah, I definitely can't speak to that, but this
But
is
why
definitely a
not
very
why
separate
not
project.
learn and play and get some agents going now? Because then you'll only feel more comfortable working with agents later in whatever format they are, you know?
And
It's free now.
Kathy, good question. Any LLM you use can help you. Take the screenshot. You can take a screenshot of the workflow. You can take a screenshot of the step and literally say, help me. This is what I want it to do. And it will probably help you. And then give it the link to Agent.ai or wherever you're building their help documentation. And so that we can look at it for you.
And come and join us over in the Slack channel. Exchange AI and CS is the channel in the CX Exchange community. Come and join us. Let's play around. Let's ask each other questions. You know, you can always set up work sessions with each other and things like that. You know, this is a time to help each other, ask each other questions. Kate is in the channel. We also have other people from the past. We've been doing AI and CS topics since December. We had 3 sessions in December. We've been doing monthly sessions since the beginning of the year. This is our 9th AI and CS session. Okay, so you have all of those recordings, all of those slides, you have the channel, all the people from all of those sessions are also in the channel. Start talking with each other, start doing it. That's why we're doing these sessions. Please, 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 if there's anything you do today, go and try and use AI in some way that's new that you didn't do before. Okay? So thank you so much for everyone coming and joining today. Really, just, you know, Fantastic session, Kate. Thank you so much.
Thanks,
We
Beth.
next month in July, Chad Hornfelt is going to be with us. He's just written a new book that will be coming out in late June about how to be a strategic CSM. It's a great read for CSMs, for CS leaders, for people transitioning into CS. So be sure to come and join us. That's going to be more in our usual discussion style. And all of the things that you're taking and learning from his book, you can take and use in your agents and in your chat GPT and custom GPTs and all of those things. So all of this is related. All of this is related. So, all right. Thank you so much. Thank you, Kate. Thank you everyone for joining, and hope to see you next month. And lots of sessions that we have. We have the book club. We have Community Connect. We have LinkedIn Success Circle, something every Tuesday for you for CxXchange community.
Thank you so much for tuning into this week's episode of Success Hour, formerly known as CS Office Hours. We regularly put out new content, so to be the first to know, like this episode, tap that notification bell, hit that subscribe button, and we look forward to seeing you soon.